Hi there, my name is Adrian Wallo, or you can call me Adrian Walls. And in this video, I'd like to walk you through how I'd increase conversions on this Shopify product page. Now, this client came to me or posted a job post with a very unique brief. They had a site-wide conversion rate of 0.24%, and this conversion rate had been consistent over the past 24 months. Based on this poor conversion rate, the client was looking for a freelance CRO consultant or strategist to come in, audit the site, find areas for improvement, and ideally build out the fixes, A/B test them, and report on the learnings so that they could make better business decisions, improve their revenue, and create a better customer journey and experience for their customers. Now, the client also had some very strict requirements. One, they didn't want a full-on site redesign. They didn't want to overhaul the whole look and feel of their site. And two, they didn't want someone who was just going to send them fancy Figma mockups that they still have to hand over to a developer and have a lot of back and forth as they figured out how to build it. The client wanted someone who could test modularly. So I prepared this case study to show how I would approach this unique problem, how I would audit any site or any page or the whole site, and how I would come up with hypotheses, design the treatments, and build these hypotheses out so that we can run them as A/B tests. The goal of this case study is to show how quickly you can go from an audit to testable blocks, or how quickly you can go from, hey, I think there's something wrong with my site, to, oh, this guy fixed it, and now our conversion rate is up, our revenue per user is up, and how to do that as quickly and lean as possible. So without further ado, let's dive in. So step one of the process is the audit. And I use an 8-point customer journey audit to quickly assess a site. It focuses on the psychology of how people make decisions, but it's also data-driven in the sense that the questions are not objective. The questions are binary. They have a yes and no answer. And each area has 5 questions. Depending on how many yeses the questions get, they get more points. And altogether, the points show how well a site is doing, or how well any one product page is doing, or how any one customer journey funnel is doing. So it scored high in some areas like trust and credibility, value communication, and checkout UX, but it was weak in areas like offer clarity, cart experience, AOV leverage, visual hierarchy, and mobile UX. So my diagnosis at this point was that the full Roebling page, and that's what this particular bike is called, and you can see the page here. The full Roebling page is clean, but it hides its best selling points. Customers love the bike, the page just needs to say what the customer is already saying. My guess is that this was built by a developer or a visual first designer who realized that some things look good, but didn't really think about how they would affect the customer's decision-making process. And that's where a CRO comes in. Someone who understands web design, someone who understands UI, UX, and someone who also understands the psychology of conversions. So, the first hypothesis, because I came up with 10 of them, and this is part of a package I offer. It's a mini customer journey audit. It's $100, and for this audit, you get 10 hypotheses and 3 prioritized hypotheses that you can test. And depending on whether you add the add-ons, you can get Figma mockups like this. And you can also get the Shopify liquid code you can use to implement this in your A/B testing platform. Or you could just code it visually. And the blocks are usually mobile first and expand to desktop. And the code is simple enough that you could implement it without customization in the Shopify editor. Or if you want schema, so that you can modify the settings and content yourself. I can include that as well. But yeah, so 10 hypotheses. And the top 3 hypotheses I prioritized were hypotheses that would have a high impact on the page and would be low cost to implement. By high impact, it means that things that can actually influence the decisions. And these are usually things that are above the fold, like the value proposition, things that help increase trust, like reviews, things that reduce friction, like UX and UI improvements, just tweaking visual hierarchy, moving things around so that it's very clear what you want people to do, and things that improve motivation to buy or to choose this option over other options. Those are generally the couple of the top hypotheses you want to test. And these hypotheses need to be easy to build. So you don't want to add a lot of custom functionality with JavaScript or rebuild the entire site just to solve that problem. Sometimes something as simple as a block of 3 reviews that takes up like 390 by 400 pixels is more than enough and performs better than carousel with a lot of JavaScript and CSS. So the first block was the subheadline plus benefit strip. This is very close to the top of the fold. It goes over here, just after the product image. And this block, I came up with the hypothesis for this block after reading through dozens of reviews on the site. So if you scroll down on the page, on the product page, there are lots of reviews from many happy customers. But the problem is you have to click multiple times to see all of these reviews. And when you're sorting the reviews out, you can sort by, hold on. You can sort by highest rating, lowest rating, only pictures first, videos first, or most helpful. But that doesn't really give you reviews that answer your questions or overcome your objections. So I read through all of the reviews manually, and I also took them into ChatGPT to kind of pick out the sentiment from the review. Like what was the frequency of the objections people had that were overcome? And based on this analysis, a lot of the reviews talked about benefits in language that the founder, the owner of this brand, wasn't using on their website. So a lot of the bullet points or the benefits and features were very tech heavy. And most of the people buying this bike weren't cycling experts. They are city commuters who want confidence and not specs. So the new bullets I wrote actually reflect what buyers actually say in their 5-star reviews. And I added some emojis and justified each claim. So built for a daily commute. And so it's light, reliable, and simple to maintain. You can shift gears without skipping. And we talk about what mechanism actually achieves that. The 9-speed Shimano drivetrain. And it's light but durable. And we talk about the chromoly frame, which is one of the mechanisms or unique selling points of this bike, which means less weight and more comfort. And this is all based on the reviews, what people are actually saying. I didn't pull this copy out of thin air. It's all data driven. And I think it would have a good chance of improving conversions. And one of the things the reviews also gave us was the product type, or how customers perceive this bike. So when you're designing a product page, you need to design the product page with something called the persuasion archetype in mind. And what do I mean by persuasion archetype? So like there are luxury bikes, there are entry-level bikes, there are bikes you would pick out at Walmart, and there are bikes that are so high-end that you have to aspire to them. The way you'd buy a Rolex watch isn't the same way you'd buy a $50 watch at Walmart. It doesn't work like that, because even though it's basically the same type of product, but it solves a different problem in your customer's mind. Okay? So some products are aspirational products. Some are problem solving. Some are just utility purchases, and some are aspirational. And if you're trying to sell the lifestyle, or you're trying to solve a problem when that's not what people... Oh, there's a plane flying over. So if you're trying to sell a product in a way that the customer isn't interested in buying it, then you're going to have a message to market mismatch. If you're trying to sell the bike as a problem-solving product when the customer doesn't really have a problem with it, then it's not going to convert very well. Or if you're trying to sell it as an aspirational product when the customer just wants something for their daily commute, then you're going to have a message mismatch. So the reviews told me that this bike is more so utility and a little problem solving. Like, those are the two most dominant persuasion styles or persuasion archetypes. And based on that, we can tweak the UX. For example, we're not using too many bright colors. It's almost monochrome. It's not completely monochrome or minimalistic for like aspirational or luxury brands. But we're not using a lot of bright colors everywhere. It's not problem solving. It's not mass market. So every tweak is intentional. For example, this size chart is easy to miss because it's so small, but it's important because they need to know how to choose their size. There's going to be friction and anxiety here. So making this choose your size and making this size chart a little bigger and blue to show that it's clickable improves the customer experience. It's a small change, but it reduces friction. Or this little line here, in stock, ships in 5 to 10 business days. And you can also say delivered fully assembled by June 19th. And these are all based on the reviews that I saw as I read through them. They're all small copy tweaks that together all add up to make this section more impactful. So the second hypothesis that was worth testing, or worth testing first, is the skeptic to believer review block. So again, like I mentioned earlier, we surfaced some of those really good reviews and put them higher up on the page. Most of these people didn't leave their faces, but they left pictures of the bikes in motion. So it's a very simple thing to add. So something as simple as, let me zoom in. Didn't expect much from a $700 bike, but it's smoother than my $1,000 Trek. So that's a comparison already. And that's one of the reviews we want to put up first. Or, honestly, I was nervous buying online, but this was easy to assemble and rides great. So we're addressing the objection of, or the anxiety of buying online. And then somebody else says, Kay from Chicago says, it just works. Quiet, smooth, and perfect for daily errands. So all of this is reinforcing this block we had earlier, okay? Yeah, okay. Which brings us to our third block, rewriting the comparison table. So halfway towards the bottom of the page, the brand has a comparison section where you compare Roebling versus other hybrid bikes. But the problem with this section is that it's really unclear what's the winner. There's a lot of cognitive friction. I mean, it's there, but you have to think to figure out which one is a winner. And sometimes when talking about other hybrids, some of the things sound better than what the Roebling has. And again, the review shows that most of these people aren't cycling experts. They're just looking for something for their daily commute. So a lot of these features don't resonate emotionally with them. I fixed this by designing the comparison table to be as unbiased as possible, but still very clear that this is the Roebling, this is what you are considering. Okay? It's small. It's first of all, we need to make them visually distinct because these two bikes look very similar. If I wasn't careful, I think that they were from the same brand. Like, is it other bikes that are being sold on the same website? Or is it other competing hybrids? Yeah, it's very unclear. So I made the other hybrids image as visually distinct as possible. And then we talk about not just the features, but how that impacts the customer's life, how it's better for the customer. Okay? Even though this is more visually impressive, it's not persuasive. It's not persuasive design because it doesn't lead the person to make the decision we want them to make. We want them to choose the Roebling. We want them to be able to justify the price of the Roebling. But this doesn't really do that. It's meh. So this is the third hypothesis that I would test. And again, I designed all of this in Figma. And all of this can be turned into HTML-ready code. We design it mobile first. So all of these blocks are mobile first. And they have a corresponding desktop variant. All right. So this is just one page, one product page, and the client has a site-wide conversion rate of 0.24%. By testing systematically over a couple of months or weeks, we can raise that conversion rate from a 0.24 to as high as a 1%. That would be a 4x increase in conversions. And if AOV stays consistent, then we have 4x the amount of money this site would be making using the same traffic, using the same elements and things that they already have. And that's more profit, faster business growth, and all the other good stuff that comes as a result of that. So if you'd like CRO insights like this for your store, let's talk. Send me a DM here on Upwork, or if you're watching this video anywhere else, you can look around and find a way to contact me. Send me a DM, you can email me, and let's talk. And what I want you to do is send me your preferred product page or the link to your product page. And I'll reply with 3 fast fixes you can implement immediately. It's not going to be a full-on audit like this, but you can get some really quick insights, things that I would fix if I was working on that store. All right. Thanks for your time. Looking forward to hearing from you.